Hello, everybody from Machine Tool. How are you all doing? I have a new assignment for you this week. And this week it's going to be a little bit different. And all the instructions you're going to need are going to come from this video. So watch closely, okay? Um, so we are going to be talking about CNC, computer numeric control, this week. And we're going to just start scratching the surface on that a little bit. So we're going to be talking about coordinate systems, more specifically X, Y, and Z coordinates, which you are all somewhat familiar with. And then we're going to start talking about absolute coordinates and incremental coordinates. Absolute coordinates being coordinates that start from 0, 0 in the XY plane, and incremental coordinates being coordinates that start from the previous coordinate to that in the XY plane. And I will explain all of that as we go here. So step one, open up It's Learning, as always. And I have this set up so it's view as student right now. So you should be seeing the same screen that I have up on here. There's two things attached to the assignment, which, by the way, I should probably back up here. So when you click into Machine Tool on the overview screen, you'll find the assignment over here on the right. Just click on that and open it up. And in here, I have the two documents that you will need. The first one, this handout, if you click on and open that up, or just a preview of it is fine. Give it a second here. Okay, here we are going through the different coordinates. So a few things should look familiar here from class. So X positive is always to the right, X negative to the left, Y positive going up, Y negative coming back, and then of course Z always following the spindle as it does right here in this example, Z positive going up, Z negative going down. And that's with a vertical spindle like our mills at Wausau West. If it were a horizontal mill and the spindle was laying horizontally, like it does on a lathe, remember from our lathe discussions, Z always follows the spindle. So in this case, Z is laying down with the spindle, and then you can see how X and Y relate to that. This is here for your reference, and you can use this to fill in your answers on the first page of the assignment. Okay, so just keep this handy. I'm going to close out of it right now and go back to It's Learning and open up the next page on the assignment. Give it a second here. And now on this one, you're filling in that information that we just saw on the other sheet. So Z positive would be up here, Z negative down here, and then fill in the X's and Y's appropriately. And then same on this one, Z positive, Z negative, X and Y positive and negative. So that should be pretty easy. You can just use that other sheet to fill it in. The part I'm more concerned with then is starting to map or plot coordinates. So this one is an example of plotting absolute coordinates. Okay. In CNC, in G code programming, we call that a G90. So when we're writing a code for a CNC mill, if we're using absolute coordinates, we write in that code somewhere G90 so that the machine knows that all of your points are originating from 0, 0. So here's X positive to the right, X negative to the left, just like the table on the milling machine, Y positive, and Y negative, again, just like the table on the mill, where they intersect is our 0, 0. Your job for this week is to plot the X and Y coordinates over here in the lower right-hand side, plotting these points that are on the map. Now, obviously, you don't have paper handouts for you to do this on. So you have two options. Number one, you could print this off and just write them all on here. Keep in mind, though, there is a second page where you're going to be doing incremental, or G91, as we call that in the programming world. And you'll be doing the same here. You could print off both of those pages and then scan them in or take a picture of them and upload them to the assignment. That's one way to do it. However, if you don't have access to a printer at home or you don't want to mess around with all that, I did figure out a way today that you can do it without having to print anything. So all you have to do is up here on the top where it says open with, see this one called Lumen PDF? If you click on that, this gives you the ability to write on top of PDFs. And the first time that you do it, it's going to ask to be allowed to access your Google Drive and things like that. Just allow it, give it access. And once you do all those things, then this will open up, like you see here on my screen, which now basically think of this as a PDF that I can edit or change or things like that. Okay. Um, so what you are going to do, and I was already messing around with this a little bit earlier, so mine's already got some markings on it. Yours will be blank. You have two options up here. You can do the free text, or you can do the free hand tools. Text, you would just be basically clicking where you want to make a text box, okay, and then inserting text. All right, so let's say that coordinate was 5. I could enter that and then click over here and do the free text again. And let's pretend that this one was 2, even though it's probably not. I could do that there. So just kind of showing you how um, we can put those numbers in using a text tool. The other way you could do it is just freehand with the pen tool here. Okay, and I could put in those numbers. Oops, that wasn't a very good one. But I could use either the mouse, or if you have a tool or a tablet where you can write those things on top of your screen, you could use that. I guess it's a personal preference thing, whichever one you would like to do. Okay, so for mapping out these coordinates, let me change colors here real quick. There we go. Okay. So this is absolute or G90. So we're starting from 0, 0, and I'm trying to map point 1. So I counted 1. So I'll make little blue tick marks. 2, 3. So that would be X positive 3 for point 1. So that's why I wrote a 3 down here before. And then counting up in the Y direction, we have 1, 2, 3. And we're going in the positive Y direction. So that would be a positive 3 for Y. If we were going to do number 2, remember, absolute coordinates were always starting from 0, 0. So for X, for point 2, we got 1, 2, 3, and now continuing on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it looks like my X would be 9 for point 2, and my Y would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 positive Y for point 2. And then you go on to 3, start from 0, 0. You go on to 4, start from 0, 0. Keep in mind now, when you get over here, you're going to have negative X values. When you get down here, you're going to have negative X and negative Y values. And then over here on this side, you should have just negative Y values. Okay. Once you get through that one, go ahead and do the incremental one right away too. Okay. So for incremental now, the only one that starts from 0, 0 is point 1. So if I count from point 1, we got 1, 2, 3. So my X is 3. And we got 1, 2, 3 in the Y positive. So it's a positive 3 in the Y. Now, incremental points, as I had said earlier in the video, are based on the last point. So point 2, what I want to know is how far is point 2 from point 1? So we start counting from point 1 this time. So for X, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the X axis. And then for the Y, I'm going up 1, 2. So we're going to have a positive 2 move for point 2. Let's go ahead and do point 3 right away. To get back to point 3, I'm moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But now be careful. Look at the direction that I moved. When we're talking incremental and going from the last point, I made a negative movement in the X direction. Okay. So your values aren't just based on what quadrant they're in, like they did in absolute. Now your values depend on what direction were you moving. So this would actually be a negative X, or a negative 5 in this case. And then the Y would be 1, 2, 3, another positive 3. Going to 4, that's a negative move in the X, no change in the Y, so that'd be a 0. Over to here, another negative X and no change in the Y. But then when I come down to point 6, well, that's going to be a positive X move because I'm going from left to right, but it's going to be a negative Y move because I'm going down. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, feel free to send me an email and ask, okay? And I'll try to clear up your questions for you. When this is all done, all 3 pages are filled out and complete, okay, here's what I want you to do. Please do not share it with me because then I'm going to get 24 emails saying this thing has been shared with you from all of my different students. Okay, there's a better way to do it. If you could just download it, okay, to your desktop or wherever you save your files, make sure you give it a name that you will recognize, okay, and save that. Here, mine downloaded and it's saved right here. It's also on my desktop if I were to minimize this window. Now, what I can do and what I want you to do is go back to your It's Learning assignment and click on Answer Assignment. And when you do that, hey, look at that. You can drop any files right here that you may want to. Drop your file into there, let it finish uploading, hit submit, and voila, everything will be there in It's Learning, in the assignment. So you don't have to share it. I don't have to go through a ton of emails. I can just go into It's Learning and see whether or not you completed the assignment. I can grade it in there. I can give you feedback in there, and everything will be just wonderful. Okay. So again, let me go back to the overview in It's Learning here. Just again, click on the assignment, open up the 2 different tabs, and it should be pretty self-explanatory from there. You can always go back and rewatch this video if you need to, okay? Reminders, I guess, for last week. Hopefully you finished up the assignment that I gave you guys last week. If not, again, you can go back into It's Learning and look at previous plans. You can look at the calendar. You could just go into resources, but sometimes that might be kind of hard to find where those things are. The previous videos that I have made for you guys are also here. Here's last week's video. So if you missed last week, you could go back and watch that video. Here's the video from the week before. Everything from Edpuzzle is in this Edpuzzle folder. So any videos that we did in there can always be found in the Edpuzzle folder. Last week's assignment was this Ferris Metals Edpuzzle assignment. So just click on that and do the Edpuzzle assignment like other ones that you have if you haven't completed that yet. Okay. So this link will take you to Edpuzzle and do that. And I did throw this Swiss cheese cube one in here just for fun. It's not really an assignment, but I just thought it was kind of cool and fun to watch. And if you do go to watch that one, you'll also notice I have figured out how to link the videos in Edpuzzle directly to It's Learning now. So you don't have to be taken out of there and go into Edpuzzle. You can do them right in It's Learning, which is pretty nice, kind of cool. So have a good week. I will talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. And again, shoot me an email if you have any questions. All righty. Take care.